Seeing this, his online Lego store produced great profit as he donated a portion of his revenue to help remove CO2 from the atmosphere. Nick's big achievements through his hard work doesn't stop there. He, along with his partner, were first place statewide in the Draw the Lines competition, which got him recognized by the Pennsylvania Senate and House of Representatives. He also landed a spot on the committee for congressional redistricting and the Scranton Times 3 times. Through student government, I got to work with Nick through 2 years of high school. When Nick was elected president of the class of 2023, our junior year, he got straight to work. Nick worked to close down Depot Street for our officers to throw a townwide festival. The result was a broken fundraising record. In Nick's first 2 months in charge, he broke the fundraising record for our school in a single day by a student class. Nick didn't stop leading our officers for the rest of his 2 years in charge, as we raised thousands and planned many school-wide events. I also worked with Nick in the Future Business Leaders of America Club chapter for our school. I bet you couldn't guess he's the president of that club too. Aside from being a great president, by organizing and creating events and connections, he also won multiple awards at a regional and state and national level. Nick, along with his partner, received first in the state and fourth in the nation for their competition last year, as well as third in the nation this year. At our state competition this year, Nick showed up a day late because he was flying back from Atlanta after attending the Coca-Cola Scholars event, where he was one of the 150 picked out of 91,000 applicants to receive a $20,000 Coca-Cola scholarship. Nick was running on no sleep and continued to push through, teaching us how hard his work ethic is, but also showing us how crazy he is. Nick's resume doesn't just stop here. Sorry, I know I'm still not done. I promise this is the last one. On top of all this, Nick has strived for athletic prowess. Throughout his four years of high school, Nick has tallied up 8 district medals and was awarded the highest point scorer. And after his run with his teammates this year, he became a 4x800 school record holder. Like I said, the most involved person at Abington Heights. Please welcome Nick Booth, who plans to attend Dartmouth University for computer science and economics, to the stage.
Thank you, Jaden, for making that all up. I'm not that good of a speechwriter. As you noticed, it was not on the resume. So good evening, teachers, faculty, families, distinguished guests, and of course, the class of 2023. Classmates, congratulations. At this point, you have hopefully sufficed the requirements prescribed for graduation by the school board and state of Pennsylvania. You have endured at least 3 years of math, science, and social studies, survived, albeit barely, 4 years of English, and most importantly, learned to play bocce ball across 2 semesters of gym. You are now, with certainty, prepared to brave Scranton's Italian Festival. Now, in all seriousness, in the past 4 years at Abington Heights, you have all developed the tools necessary to succeed in adulthood. While most of you may never again need to identify the Golgi apparatus, graph polynomials, or remember whether James Garfield was the president or the actor who played Spider-Man, you will still be tasked with overcoming other great challenges. How do I iron this shirt? Do I have chicken or beef ramen tonight? Are my taxes due before April 15th or at 11:59 p.m. the day of? As I'm told, these are the essential questions of adulthood. And while they may seem daunting, over the last 4 years, you'll all have worked to become expert problem solvers, or at the very least, experts at finding solutions. Not only can you discover Quizlets for everything, but you are also the most resolute, determined, relentless class, quite possibly ever. No matter how many restrictions placed on the school's Chromebooks, nothing could deter you from finding new ways to play cool math games in Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby. If you put half as much effort as you do into playing games into literally anything else, you will be enormously successful. Without a doubt, you all have the foundation for adulthood. You will still have questions, all adults do. But before you look up whether Advil can expire, I want to remind you that if this year has taught you anything, it should be that ChatGPT can answer this much faster than Google. But unlike this question, and probably some of your English essays, there may be scenarios which ChatGPT cannot talk you through, because more information is not the solution if you fail to ask the right questions, or, often worse, fail to inquire at all. Yet, raising your hand and asking for help more often is easier said than done, because to do so is admitting that there's something we do not know, something we do not understand, and thus something we lack. And in a world which strives for perfection, anything to the contrary is viewed as a vulnerability. But it is only by being vulnerable through which we can learn and grow. To succeed in whatever your next endeavor may be, you must take the risk of being vulnerable, of asking questions, of being wrong. Now, don't worry, these are not my own ideas, and this is not my advice. Frankly, if I were to give you advice, it would be, do not take advice from an 18-year-old. So with that, I would like to quote the true bearer of this wisdom, author of A Wrinkle in Time, Madeleine L'Engle, who wrote, "When we were children, we used to think that when we were grown up, we would no longer be vulnerable. But to grow up is to accept vulnerability. To be alive is to be vulnerable." We, the class of 2023, are fortunate to live in such exciting times. The world is changing quickly before us, but we could not be more prepared. Since our first classes, now 12 years ago, we have seen the world grow by over 1 billion people. We have watched the emergence of smartphones and social media, and we, for 2 years, navigated one of the most dangerous crises in history, the high school parking lot. It is a miracle some of you are still insured, but truly, hardened by traffic jams and fender benders, there is nothing this class cannot achieve. As you go off into our ever-changing world, it's important to remember you are more than prepared. You are tenacious, you are curious, and you are optimistic. But if there can be just one thing you can take away from this speech, it's that you are one question away from the most important information you will ever know. Be vulnerable, discover what that question is. Class of 2023, it is our time. Congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Dodge, the Vice President of the Class of 2023. I am so happy and honored to now introduce the classitarian, Michael Cummins. It has been an absolute honor to work with him in class throughout the years. I remember back when we were both in 8th grade Spanish together, and since then we have had many more classes together where I was able to witness him continue to be outstanding. Therefore, I have a lot of time to admire Michael and his dedication to academics, his peers, and to being an exemplary human in every way. It must be noted that through all of the classes that I have had with him, Michael brightens up the room with not only his intelligence, but also with his character and sense of humor. I must say, I don't think Abington Heights would feel the same at all without him. Michael is a very accomplished student here. He was the co-captain of the Abington Heights 2-time Pennsylvania state champion mock trial team, a member of the Abington Heights varsity volleyball team, the co-director of the Abington Heights peer tutoring course, a peer tutor himself, an Interact Club member, a National Honor Society member, and was also voted as prom king. Michael has accomplished much more outside of Abington Heights High School as well. He is a weekly volunteer teaching African refugee student in children's in Scranton, and the 2023 Scranton Times Scholastic Superstar. And to top it all off, it goes without saying that Michael is an absolute academic powerhouse. He took 9 AP courses here at Abington Heights and has also received the AP Scholar with Honors Award. He has also received 41 dual enrollment credits from Lackawanna College while enrolled at Abington Heights High School. Michael will be attending Ursinus College in Collegeville, Pennsylvania as a Zacharias and Social Justice Scholar. He will be majoring in computer science. I would wish him luck, but I really don't think he needs it. His intelligence, his attitude, his humility, and his amazing character will carry him to great heights and to achieving great things always. So let's all give a warm welcome to Michael Cummins, the salutatorian.
Hello, families, teachers, administrators, and classmates. My name is Michael Cummins, and I am so excited and proud to be able to address you today at the graduation of the class of 2023. Our high school career was far from typical, but we surmounted the challenges and should all be proud of our accomplishments. First, I would like to express my gratitude to the people that supported me on my way to becoming salutatorian. Thank you to all of my teachers for guiding me through my education and taking an interest in my development as a student. Thank you to my parents, Ann and Dan, for providing me with an amazing life full of opportunity and joy. Thank you to my brothers, Dan and Chris, for being incredible people who pushed me to reach higher. Thank you to my girlfriend, Kate, for inspiring me to be the best version of myself. Thank you to my good friend, Chris, who will be speaking later as our valedictorian, for challenging me to work harder. And thank you to you, all of my classmates and teammates, for growing, changing, and accomplishing remarkable things alongside of me. When I think back to freshman year, I was full of anxiety and fear concerning all aspects of high school. I was quiet and uncomfortable in my skin and did my best just to blend in and make it through the school day. If my freshman self could see my progression, who I became, and what I accomplished, I think he would be very proud of me and excited for what to come. Most of all, I think he would be very excited to spend senior year with all of you. This school year, there seemed to be a large shift in the general culture of our class. It seems as if everyone was much more accepting and open-minded about their fellow classmates, and this made the year much more comfortable and enjoyable. I do not know if it was because of our missed time due to the pandemic or simply because it was our last year, but everyone was more willing to take advantage of the simple joys and happiness that comes from sharing time with each other. When I think about this school year, it feels full of life and joy, along with the stressful decisions we all needed to make and bittersweet emotions. All of the important and formative experiences that occurred during this year were the result of each of us taking action. If we simply sat back and waited for things to happen to us, none of us would be sitting here today. Through our 4 years, I learned that life doesn't happen to you, life comes from you. If you want something, you need to go and get it. If you seek fulfillment, you need to take action to achieve it. No matter where you are or what you're doing, you can find meaning and purpose in your experiences. Whether you're sitting in traffic, eating dinner, taking a test, cleaning your room, or in a gymnasium during your graduation instead of outside, there are thousands of opportunities in each and every day to appreciate and find meaning in your life. I began my high school career just going through the motions with the hopes of getting through each day, and it left me feeling empty. I was missing the beauty that exists in every single day. Through these years, I learned that you should live with mindfulness and value every experience, be it happy or sad. We should all try our best to truly live in the present and take advantage of every moment possible. Doing so allows you to feel fulfilled and excited about the future. This appreciation of life is what I wish for all of you. No matter the circumstance, take a moment and find the meaning. I would like to finish with a quick thought experiment that I recently encountered. Imagine that a person approaches you and offers you $10 million with no catch at all, free and clear. Would you take the money? I think it's likely that almost everyone here would accept the money. What happens, though, if the stranger added the caveat that accepting the money meant that you would not wake up the next morning and that you only had the rest of the day to enjoy your wealth? Would you accept it? I don't know for sure what all of you would say, but I know that I would easily refuse the deal, and I have a good feeling a lot of you would as well. By refusing that offer, you are saying that simply waking up each morning is worth more than $10 million. So why don't we treat each day like it's worth $10 million? Every day, we are given the most generous and profound gift that could be given to us. A new start, another chance, an opportunity to make a difference, to appreciate life, to be the best version of ourselves. I urge all of you to take each day and squeeze every ounce of joy you can from every single moment, to truly appreciate every second you have to be the amazing people you already are. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophia Cody, and I am the historian for the class of 2023. It has been an honor to have been a class officer for these past 3 years, working alongside the other officers to create the best possible high school experience. I think we can all agree that along the way, we have all learned from and been mentored by some very influential teachers in a variety of Abington's departments. One of these amazing teachers being Miss Owens. Miss Owens graduated from Abington Heights in 2009 after attending Abington Heights for all 12 years of her primary education. After high school, she attended Marywood University, where she received her bachelor's in English and master's in education. She began teaching at our high school as an English teacher in 2019, our freshman year. For the past 4 years, Ms. Owens has taught many students in our class, whether it was for public speaking, world literature, or English 1. In all of these classes, she has taught us to all challenge the world with questions, explore our personal interests, and develop our never-ending curiosity. For many, her classroom became a place of sanctuary and peace. She welcomed us each into her room, always ready to inspire and guide. In the May of our sophomore year, Ms. Owens was faced with life-changing news. She was diagnosed with acute promyelocytic leukemia, which is the rarest form of leukemia. For the rest of the year and that summer, Ms. Owens underwent chemotherapy daily. Once the school year began, Ms. Owens chose to continue teaching despite all of the external and internal battles she dealt with. She came to school every day at 7:30 a.m., taught a full day, and then went to chemotherapy. Yet, as a student who had Ms. Owens at the beginning of junior year, I can say without a doubt that she never allowed what she went through to interfere with the magic she created in her classroom. If she had not informed us of her cancer, I probably would have never known because of all the effort Ms. Owens put into making sure our education remained uninterrupted. Her strength is profusely incredible and inspiring. However, she is not only just a great example of resilience, but also dedication. Throughout our entire high school experience, through all unforeseen obstacles, Ms. Owens remained devoted to teaching us. She has been so selfless in her constant and unwavering effort to put the students first. When I spoke with Ms. Owens about this introduction, I asked her what her favorite part of teaching at Abington is. She replied, it's the ability for her to give back to the community she grew up in. She told me how she wholeheartedly appreciates each connection she makes with the student. So Ms. Owens, on behalf of the class of 2023, we would like to thank you for the long-lasting connection you have made with us all. We are so gracious for the home you have created inside your classroom, where students can infinitely express themselves and always have not only a teacher, but a friend. I can confidently say that you are someone we all look up to with immense admiration and respect. We're all going to miss you so much. Now please join me in welcoming Ms. Katie Owens.
This morning, I promised not to cry, but that makes it very hard. Sophia, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Schaefer, Dr. Vitale, Mr. Acker, Mrs. Tioni, my fellow esteemed faculty members. Hello to all the parents, grandparents, siblings, and loved ones in the audience, both here and online. But most importantly, to the class of 2023, my little flowers. Even though I think I was probably the first teacher in Abington Heights history to actively campaign to be chosen as the commencement speaker, I am beyond thankful that you chose me for this honor. It has been 14 years since I participated in an Abington Heights graduation, except last time I was in your seats. That night, after the ceremony, I went out to dinner with my family at whatever restaurant Blue Wasabi was before it was Blue Wasabi, and now another much-needed Clark Summit bank. Then I ditched my family. My mom's tears became too much for me. My friends and I all met up at Hillside Park to light off fireworks and lay on the hoods of our cars and look up at the stars. And we talked about how, just like you, in a few months, we would all be off at different places for the first time. But we would still have those stars to look up at and know that even though we were not in the same little town together, we were still in the world together. Or that might have just been me thinking that. You know how much I love a deep existential train of thought. It was true, though. I went off to school in Florida. Some friends went other places. Some stayed local here. But no matter where I've ever found myself in life, I've known that I could look up at the stars and know that really I wasn't so far from anyone that I love. We're all here on this planet, spinning around in space, and everything that ever has or will happen to anyone has taken place here. And despite this, the world has kept turning. And maybe to some people, this doesn't sound like a hopeful thought, that to the stars above, our lives mean nothing. But to me, it's always been encouraging. The stars have seen all the very best and very worst things to ever happen on Earth. And I figure everything I experience is going to fall somewhere in the middle. Like, yes, I had to suffer through having James Dady and Connor Casey in the same class 3 times. But compared to the fall of the Roman Empire, I think I've had it pretty easy. Though I don't think any of us would say the last 4 years were easy. For a large portion of you, I taught you both freshman and sophomore year, and I think we can agree those were 2 of the most unconventional years probably anyone's ever had. Bright side, you're the only class that will ever get to play Among Us while we wait for the virtual kids to log on. Downside, everything else about it. But I don't want to harp on about how COVID was a shadow over your entire high school career, though it was. What I do want to talk to you about is endurance. You've been through a lot together. You've been through a lot this week. But you've gone through a global pandemic, when they undercook the pizza in the cafeteria, new administrators at every level, and the loss of our friend, Miss Bridget Thomas. Even with these shared experiences, all of you have arrived here despite your own personal obstacles as well. For some of you, these were academic. You worked, sometimes, but you did your best, whatever that was on any given day. And maybe you didn't get what the world says are good grades, but you made it here. For some of you, your obstacles were social. Maybe you never quite found the place where you fit in. Maybe you found it at the wrong time or struggled to bounce back after isolation. Some of you fit in too much. You have so many people and obligations pulling you in so many directions that you weren't able to wholly dedicate yourself to anything. For others still, many more of you perhaps than groups in the past, you carry trauma. A lot of bad and sad things have happened in your lives, and that sometimes makes it difficult. But regardless of any and all of this, you're here today, and you're here together, your own constellation in a galaxy that keeps spinning up in the sky. And actually, if we were outside and the sky was clear, you would be able to look eastward to a group of stars that form a famous constellation. If you ask some indigenous groups of Africa, it's a drinking gourd. If you go north to Scandinavia, they'll tell you it is oxen pulling a wagon. The Aztecs would say it's a prince turned into a 3-legged jaguar. The Greeks and I agree that it is a space bear. You probably know it as the Big Dipper. But this shows us that where you come from and how you view something is going to change the story. The stories you hear, the stories you tell, and the story that you are. Because each one of you is writing a story every minute of your life. And despite what a BuzzFeed quiz might tell you, you all have main character energy. The experiences you have, the emotions you feel, and the things you create are worth sharing with the world. You are not limited by a side role in other people's lives. On the other hand, you shouldn't underestimate the power that a side role can have. Who is Mickey without Goofy, Romeo without Juliet, Batman without the Joker? Sometimes you'll need to be the comic relief, sometimes the love interest, and sometimes the bad guy. But you need to always deeply examine and never diminish the value that you play in the story of other people. To be cliche, this chapter in your story is over, and the roles you have will change now more than they ever have before as new people and places get added to your story. And to be honest, my story as a teacher has never not included you. Your class filled a lot of roles in my life. What will I do without Anna Clara rating my snacks, or Rye running all of my clubs for me, or Allie coming in to give me updates about Evander? When I came back to Abington Heights, I think I forgot it wasn't just another 4-year term. And as funny as it would be to quit right now, I actually think that with your help, I've become a pretty good teacher, and I'll stick around to torture another generation with ancient Sumerian epics. The day I found out I would be giving this speech, I asked my public speaking class if I should read a poem, and they begged me not to. So even though it is the most Miss Owens thing I could do right now, I won't read a whole poem, just the closing line from my very favorite, a poetry March Madness classic by Mary Oliver, which ends, "So tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" You don't need to have the answer right now, and that answer will probably change 100 times throughout that wild and precious life. But don't ever forget that it is wild, like the flowers, and precious like the stars, and that you have and can endure any obstacle in your way. I'll close with my traditional departing message from any class that got perhaps a bit too deep. Go and do something a little extra kind today, if not for yourself, then for me. Love you, mean it.
Good evening. I'm Emma Ratchford, and I have had the pleasure of being the secretary of the class of 2023 for the past 2 years. Tonight, I also have the pleasure of introducing our valedictorian, Chris Adonisio. I can't name anyone who deserves this honor more than Chris. Along with being an outstanding student in the classroom, Chris has an equally impressive resume to match. It would take me a long time to list all of Chris's accomplishments, but to highlight a few, Chris was very involved in our school's clubs, being president of the Software Club, president of the National Honor Society, vice president of the Computer Club, captain of the Speech and Debate Team, and he founded the Abington chapter of Steel City Codes. Through his leadership positions, Chris has given back to the school and our community more than anyone knows. He refurbished and repaired broken and old computers and donated over 40 computers to members of our community. He also organized a free week-long computer science summer camp in 2021 and 2022. On top of his already busy schedule throughout the school year, he also planned weekly lessons about Python for middle school students interested in computer science. Chris was very involved in our school's first ever robotics team, spending around 10 hours a week on programming. Additionally, he volunteered to coach the middle school's robotics team, overseeing their weekly meetings. I was fortunate to get to work closely with Chris through our involvement as officers in the National Honor Society. Through working with him, I've been able to see a lot of what Chris stands for. Chris was always willing to take the time out of his already busy day to help in any way that he could. Although he was the smartest person in the meetings, he was genuinely interested in other people's ideas. He constantly encouraged everyone to participate, to hear new ideas and activities that would help our school and community. One of my favorite things this year was staying updated regarding Chris's college decisions. I also caught myself being disappointed when we had some schools on our college list in common, because I knew for certain that if they only picked one student from Abington, it was going to be Chris. At times, I would even be more excited to hear about his decisions than my own, and I lived through him when hearing about the prestigious schools he was being accepted into. I vividly remember everyone being so excited for Chris when Ivy Day came around, since we all knew he would get into an amazing school, because he truly is the model student. Like we all knew it would be, Ivy Day was a success for Chris, and he is now planning on studying computer science at Cornell University. Finally, earlier this year, Chris told us a very funny and one of my favorite stories about how he was pulled over by the Abington police because he was driving too slow through Clark Summit. And it's actually really ironic because everyone who knows Chris knows that at Cornell and in his career, he is going to be getting places very fast. With all of that being said, I am honored to introduce our 2023 valedictorian, Chris Adonisio.
Thank you, Emma. Well, at least for letting everyone know about that story. Anyway, thank you to the families, teachers, faculty, and staff here today. Without the help and support of our amazing teachers, I would not have the honor of being valedictorian, and I'd like to acknowledge them all now. Also, a special thanks to Ms. Owens, my speech and debate coach over the last 4 years. And so, if you think my speech is terrible, she said you can take it up with her. I'd also like to personally thank my mom, my dad, and my sister, who put up with me this last year as I was a nervous wreck working towards this goal. I could not have done it without you. Lastly, a quick shout out to Mikey C., one of my best friends who's up on stage with me today. If you told me earlier this year I'd be valedictorian, I'd be ecstatic that all of my hard work and sacrifice finally paid off. But now that I've actually accomplished my goal, I can safely say the late nights of web work and cramming for Mr. Romansky's brutal US history tests were light work in comparison to the difficulty of writing this speech. However, I see no better place to start than the beginning of high school, 9th grade. When I was a freshman, I was so excited by all the possibilities of high school, like many of you. We were finally able to break free from the teams of the middle school. I'm still not sure what crazy 50s architect cooked up that idea. Regardless, as we entered 9th grade, I was ready to join every club in sight. Many of you may not know this, but the summer before our freshman year, I had the great idea of deciding to try out for the golf team. But this was not some underdog story. Instead, on the first day of tryouts, I don't know if anyone had shanked more shots into the woods in golf team history. Luke Morgan, a very talented golfer in our class, can attest to this. I scored something in the 150s. And unlike my aspirations for my GPA, in golf, you want a low score. After the 2 days of tryouts, the golf team coach, Mr. Suma, came up to me and said something along the lines of, "Even though you did pretty terrible, I respect you for finishing both days." Let's just say golf was not going to be my thing in high school, but at the same time, this random exploring led me to other clubs, activities, friend groups, and experiences that have left a lasting impression on me. So many of us found something we loved to do in high school by trying something new. And yes, we made plenty of mistakes along the way. In high school, we learned through trial and error how to write a literary analysis from Mrs. Adair, how to play online chess in class without it being too obvious, and how to drive a car, or at least try to drive a car. We met our best friends, and most importantly, we learned after gym class that Axe body spray is not, and I repeat, is not a substitute for showering. The open to anything attitude and curiosity that we started high school with is precious and is responsible for all the growth we've experienced over the last 4 years. We have learned as a class, both from our successes and our failures. Many people in this class are talented in an array of different areas. We have amazing artists, star athletes like our track team that broke the school record for the first time in 41 years, history buffs, and future physicists. But even though many of us have an idea of what we want to do and are gifted at it, let's remember to seize spontaneous opportunities and try new experiences, even if it may be scary. You most likely will shank a few golf balls into the woods, but does it matter? Because ultimately, you may find something that you otherwise never would have encountered. The physics goat, second only to Dr. Stroyan, Albert Einstein, once said, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." So, as we move on to this next part of our lives, let's be reminded to stay passionately curious. And now, You may be asking yourselves, how am I, as an 18-year-old, at all qualified to give advice like this? Which is very fair. First of all, I'm definitely not, but also, I think it's because I'm guilty of what I'm warning against. Hold on, issue with the paper here, 1 sec. There we go. I probably spent one too many nights studying instead of going out and trying something new because it was what I was comfortable with. I chased very quantifiable goals, partly for the external validation that high grades provided. Yet I don't think I'll remember a specific victory on a test more than the memories I have with my friends from high school. Our senior wedding prank, Fall Fest, the Powerpuff Games, and prom have left a lasting impression on me, and I would like to thank all of my fellow classmates, and I'm so excited to see what we accomplish. My friends jokingly told me I shouldn't worry too much about what I write, because many of you I may not see again or as often. And although this is the sad reality of us graduating and moving on to the next part of our lives, I would like to end my speech with a quote that we read during our book club in Dr. Pryle's class. In Tuesdays with Maury, Maury explains to his student, I give myself a good cry if I need it, but then I concentrate on all the good things still in my life. I cannot speak to all of the unseen hardships that everyone in this class overcame, but we all did it. We all got through a global pandemic early on in our high school career, and we bounced back. We graduated, and that's something to be proud of. So congratulations to the Abington Heights class of 2023.
It is now the moment you have been awaiting, the certification of the senior class for graduation. As principal of Abington Heights High School, it is my pleasure and absolute honor to present this year's graduates. Mr. Acker and members of the Abington Heights School Board of Education, I certify that the students before you have met all of the requirements necessary to receive a fully accredited high school diploma from the Abington Heights School District. At this time, I present to you the graduating class of 2023.
Mrs. Cioni, on behalf of the Abington Heights School District Board of Education, on behalf of the entire Abington Heights community, it is my pleasure to accept your certification that the young men and women here tonight have fulfilled their requirements for graduation. It is also my privilege and honor to be the first to congratulate the graduates of the great class of 2023.
Christopher Samuel Adonisio.
Michael Jeffrey Cummins.
Nicholas John Booth.
Sophia Zoe Cody.
Jordan Eve Colombo.
Nicholas David Dodge III.
Jaden Nile Patel.
Emma Rose Ratchford.
James Glindwer Reese III.
Benjamin Mark Magnotta.
Alex Danielle Adamus.
Hannah Jane Adonisio.
Julia Francesca Adranya.
Catherine Teresa Agantovich.
Ithar Ahmed Elmidon.
Bradley Stephen Ames.
Casey Vincent Ames.
Maya Rose Arcangelo.
Alyssa Rose Ariema.
Molly Badalamente.
Nicholas Christoph Barahona.
Eric Charles Barbrack.
Jonathan Jr. Barrett.
Grace Elizabeth Bath.
Gianna Lynn Petrilla.
Jacob Daniel Bednars.
Aiden Benitez.
Faith Ann Bennett.
Noe Biteau.
Alexander William Blakowitz.
Keith Tyler Blood.
Sadie Bonzek.
Nicholas Michael Bossy.
Kieran Patrick Boyle.
Marcus Brennan.
Zachary David Brister.
Aiden Thomas Brown.
Sean Edward Brown.
James Robert Brust.
Leandra Catherine Brust.
John Paul Burke.
Zachary Logan Kahn.
Mia Grace Calvert.
Amelia Sarah Campbell.
Bella Rose Capolongo.
Bryn Elizabeth Carey.
Luca Chase Caro Esposito.
Brady Nicholas Carpenter.
Caden David Casal.
Connor Michael Casey.
Joshua Casimir.
Daniel Christopher Casper.
Carter Andrew Chichura.
Jason Michael Cristiano Jr.
Samuel Francis Chrisman.
Andrew James Clark.
Kayla Nicole Clark.
Dylan Connor Clifton.
John Woodson Cole.
Madison Julia Rose Connor.
Gerald Paul Conover III.
Audrey Catherine Cornell.
Jack William Kogel.
Jordan Chase Cummings.
Mackenzie Marie Cunningham.
Roman Marco Cuccifello.
James Edward Dady.
Phoebe Josephine DeVitock.
Ava Lynn Davis.
Colin Gregory Davis.
Scott Andrew Davis.
Sabrina Lisa Deary.
Joseph Giovanni DeFazio.
Sydney Elizabeth Marie Degnan.
Allie Detter.
Nathan William Dixon.
Colin Joseph Donahoe.
Aaliyah Nicole Durunda.
Matthew Elwood Dreisbaugh.
Alex Richard Duffy.
Megan Grace Dimmick.
Maisie Elizabeth Earl.
Gabriel Sumner Earl DeLucy.
Robert Ryder Earl DeLucy.
Aaron Rylan Sue Epstein.
Isaac John Theokavitz.
Jacob Michael Fink.
Ryan Elizabeth Finnerty.
Andrew Francis Foley.
Avery Brianne Folmar.
Kelsey Elizabeth Fritch.
Adrian Edward Gaidula.
Jacob Charles Gantz.
Connor Charles Georgia.
Jordan Jeffrey Getman.
Sai Shanmukh Gatti.
Gayatri Shanmuki Goli.
Rita Elizabeth Gawardi.
Gianna Grace Gregorovich.
Connor James Griffin.
Jacob Matthew Grimaldi.
Julian Anthony Grives.
Gavin Joseph Grogan.
Braden Michael Groves.
Nash Luigi Gromelski.
Christopher Richard Guza.
Lily Jane Haggerty.
Dylan Robert Hamill.
Charles Alexander Ham.
Reena Chandrasekhar Hanumali.
James Matthew Hartman.
Michael Evan Hartshorn.
Martin Keith Hasty.
Catherine Margaret Healy.
Wyatt James Henry.
Christian Robert Henzis.
Natalie Nicole Hewitt.
Alex Rose Lavick.
Madeline Mary Hoynoski.
Paige Elizabeth Holgate.
Hunter Reed Hollis.
Benjamin Kane Hood.
Carolyn Grace Hopkins.
Edward William Horgan.
Jasmine Sky Horton.
Leon Hufford.
Kevin Preston Hughes.
Bowen Thomas Hunter.
Emma Kate Ilian.
Olivia Rose Jackson.
Tamer Mohammed Jafar.
Lindsay Marie James.
Aiden Thomas Jenkins.
Dane Garrett Johnson.
Nora Catherine Jones.
Manasi Joshi.
Ty Davis Cabe.
Michael Edward Kanyuk.
Brady Matthew Caraha.
Jacob Joseph Kelly.
Gavin Patrick Kerrigan.
Troy Jeffrey Kester.
Azan Ahmad Khan.
Helen Audrey King.
Abigail Carmela Kirtley.
Allison Paige Klotz.
Madison Joanne Cordish.
Isabel Lejeune Kostiak.
Tanner John Koval.
Elias Zachary Kowal.
Aiden Joseph Crail.
E. Alexander Kranitsky.
Ella Rose Kulenich.
Olivia Lamb.
Hunter Edward Landers.
Andrew David LaQuintano.
Olivia Paige Lawless.
Henry James Lazo.
Tommaso Anthony Lello.
Chloe Levasseur.
Lathan Michael Lewis.
Riley Shay Lewis.
Molly Grace Lindeman.
Nathan Thomas Lipless.
Michaela Rose.
Kate Lloyd.
Aiden John Lombardi.
Grace Audrey Laura.
Catherine Grace Lucas.
Kenneth Allen Lynch Jr.
Lorna Alexis Lynch.
Brendan Joseph Lynott.
Hunter David Maybe.
Marielle Elise MacDonald.
Byron Manuel Maldonado.
Sejal Arvind Molly.
Jacob Thomas Mann.
Allison Grace Manwarren.
Frederick William Martin.
James Sean Martin.
Phoebe Snow Mattis.
Riley Renee McDonald.
Alexis Riley McDonald.
Imani Elizabeth McDonald.
Charles Thomas McGrail.
Zachary Campbell Meckwood.
Gianni Carlito Migliori.
Tyrese Matthew Miller.
Joel Andrew Minnick.
Jordan Alexander Molatoris.
Mark Christopher Molnar Jr.
Nora Gray Moon.
Gloria Stephanie Morales Rivas.
Eric Robert Moran.
Luke Mitchell Morgan.
Madison Reed Muller.
Talon Walter Mundrake.
Antoine Ajani Murray.
Caroline Marie Murray.
Courtney Michelle Nealon.
Leah Keeler Nealon.
Brendan Thomas Newman.
Jacob Charles Newton.
Vivian Nee.
Lauren Marie Notary.
Chloe May Nunemacher.
Abhinav Sairedi Paule.
Pranav Sairedi Pale.
Manan Samir Pancholi.
Cooper Jonathan Papp.
Madeline Jane Pardue.
Kaya Patel.
Caroline Marie Pease.
David Ronald Pease.
Jack Thomas Petrillo.
Elizabeth Grace Petnato.
Mitchell Charles Petty.
Garrett Ethan Petrika.
Michael Anthony Perner.
Abi Romesh Projapati.
Tiernan James Pryal.
Hannah Elizabeth Putkamp.
Taryn Olivia Quinn.
Anna Clara Quintiliano.
Ava Amber Ramsey.
Geneva Ryan Reese.
Gretchen Mary Reese.
Braden James Reiner.
John Templar Rich III.
Ayana Annette Rivera.
Jason Joseph Roberts.
Brody Drew Robertson.
Emily Paige Robinson.
Ryan Andrew Robinson.
Nicholas Matthew Raditsky.
Nathan Charles Rosensky.
Sophia Rose Rubner.
Jaden Kareem Rue.
Aiden John Ryan.
Paige Madison Sandy.
Marley Madison Serafinko.
Robert Cormac Saunders.
Ankitha Saxena.
Santo James Schiavone.
Silvio Paul Schiavone.
Miles Reagan Schultz.
Gabriella Rachel Scott.
Thomas Sebastian Scott.
Zaire George Shackleton.
Sebastian Jerome Shepard.
Ethan William Shook.
Matthew Allen Shao.
Tyshawn Dominic Shuff Watts.
Matthew Charles Sigler.
Luke Michael Siriani.
Raven Sky Snyder.
Hannah Amelia Sotil.
Ava Hope Stefersky.
Aiden Kane Stark.
Samuel John Stevens.
Bryn Iris Stiles.
Aiden Christopher Stoughton.
Benjamin Mason Strauss.
Jordan Elijah Theodore.
Kirsten Michaela Thubrin.
Victoria Renee Tierney.
Matthew Ryan Tokash.
Michael Franklin Tomzik.
Danielis Vasquez Perez.
Paige Catherine Walsh.
Patrick James Walsh.
Thomas Patrick Walsh.
Liam Jack Walter.
Kirsten Kimberly Warwick.
Nathaniel Thomas Wasco.
Riley Ann Westcott.
Dylan Mark Westerlund.
Kevin Raphael Whitaker.
Caleb Josiah White.
Andrew Thomas Wymark.
Nikolai John Williams.
Cassia Rose Wilson.
Natalie Claire Wintz.
Dorena Yolch.
Mower Yang.
Matthew Joseph Young.
Tanner Shane Young.
Magdalena Zdanowicz.
Marta Zdanowicz.
And Michael Zdanowicz.
We're almost done. So congratulations to the class of 2023. You have made it. So this evening, I have the honor and the privilege to recognize a group of students who have gone above and beyond the high school expectations. Tonight, these students will not only receive their high school diploma, but also their associate's degree or workforce certificates. When I call your name, please stand and be recognized for this impressive achievement. Azan Khan. Riley Westcott. You can remain standing and we'll call all the names. Caden Casal, Dylan Clifton, Jacob Gans, Christopher Guza, Jacob Kelly, Troy Kester, Brendan Lynott, Hunter Maybe, Tyrese Miller, Nora Moon, Brendan Newman, Sebastian Shepard, Jordan Theodore, Victoria Tierney, Danielise Vasquez Perez, Liam Walter, Dylan Westerlund. On behalf of Abington Heights, congratulations on earning both of your degrees this evening.
On behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations to the class of 2023, your parents, your family, and your friends. I would ask the following students to stand and remain standing: Isa Rashad, Joseph DeFazio, James Hartman, Hunter Hollis, Andrew LaQuintano, Lathan Lewis, Kenneth Lynch, Geneva Reese, Gretchen Reese, James Reese, Luke Siriani, and Sam Stevens. We will soon finish our ceremony and send our graduates through that gate to a very exciting future. One that I know will be marked by service to family and to community. It is my privilege to ask that as we conclude our ceremony tonight, that you join me in acknowledging the individuals now standing before you. There is always an element of service to our country that motivates young men and women to the calling of military service. The duty of service and protection of our basic freedoms has rarely been stronger than it is in our world today. So let's conclude this ceremony with a round of applause for all of our graduates to honor the commitment of these individuals that stand before us today.
Class of 2023, please rise. The tassel represents your time as a student. Turning it to the other side confirms your newfound status as a graduate of Abington Heights High School. Please join me and turn your tassels from right to left. Congratulations, the class of 2023.
With your partner.